After sharing whispers around the campfire, your companions start the rest. Above you, through a hole in the canopy, stars appear in a rose-tinted sky, edged with gold and transitioning to grey. Your watch has begun, aiming the heated jungle floor. As the moon rises, the constant noise of the crackling fire and buzzing insects seems to cease when a heavy growl echoes through the understory. Something starts moving through the jungle, shadow upon shadow, closing the gap between you very quickly. The enemy is nothing but an echo of a creature, a mere silhouette of a beastly man. Nevertheless, he attacks ferociously and swiftly. With a great effort, you manage to defeat the shadow, only to find out that its source was right behind you all along. Hello guys, welcome to the Witch Cat. Today I want to present to you a build using the new Bugbear race released on Monsters of the Multiverse. This character is a mix between a character that can do a lot of damage and a character that can protect the allies. I'm calling this build the Ambusher because it takes advantage of the Bugbear's new feature, paired with some classes features that we're gonna see further along this video. As you will see, this build is perfect for a Bugbear because they usually worship two twin gods, which are a god of violence and a god of stealth. So let's start our build looking at the new racial features of the Bugbear. Our creature type is humanoid and goblin. We are size medium and our speed is 30 feet. We have dark vision of 60 feet, Fey ancestry which gives us advantage against being charmed. We have the long limbed feature which gives us an additional 5 feet of reach whenever we make a melee attack. We have a feature called Power Build, which makes us count as one size larger for our carrying capacity as well as the weight we can push, draft or lift. And then we see the most important feature for this build, the surprise attack. It reads, if you hit a creature with an attack roll, it takes 2d6 of damage if it hasn't taken a turn yet in the combat. Okay, so for our initial stats, we're gonna start with a 14 strength with a +2, a 15 con with a +1, 14 dex and 12 wisdom. We're gonna dump intelligence and charisma. For this build, we're gonna use 3 classes, the barbarian, the fighter and the ranger. Our career will begin with fighter. We're gonna take 5 straight levels into fighter. At level 1, we're gonna choose the great weapon fighting style. At level 3, we're gonna pick up the Echo Knight subclass. At 4, we're gonna pick up the Sentinel feat. And finally, we will pick up extra attack. As an Echo Knight, we will get a number of good features. The first one that I wanna point out here is Unleash Incarnation. This allows us to do a number of extra attacks a number of times equal to our Constitution modifier. The second and more important feature is Manifest Echo. I'm not gonna read the whole thing here, but basically it creates a copy of us that we can move around up to 30 feet away from us. It's also really important to point out that if the enemies move 5 feet away from our echo, we get an opportunity attack. We also can attack our enemies through our echo's position. This feature is what makes this build very powerful, both defensively and offensively. Remember, as a Bugbear, we get extra 5 feet of reach. If we pair this with a halberd, that means we have a 15 reach to attack our enemies, and we can do those attacks from 2 different positions on the map. I've also mentioned that we are getting the Sentinel feat, which reads, when you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. This is really good synergy with our Echo. Moving on with the build, we're gonna take 2 barbarian levels. We're gonna take Rage, Danger Sense, and Reckless Attack. For those that are new to the game, Rage is something that we can do with our bonus action. And this is really important because the Bugbear feature only works on the first round of combat. When we are raging, we cannot cast spells, but we get a bonus damage to every single attack that we do. We are also picking up Danger Sense that grants us advantage in our dexterity saving throws. Finally, at Barbarian 2, we are picking up Reckless Attack that allows us to make our attacks with advantage. At level 8, we're gonna go back to Fighter for a bit, and we're gonna take the feat Resilient Wisdom. This is really important here for 2 reasons. First, because Wisdom is a very important saving throw, and now we are protected against fear and charm attacks. This makes our character very strong defensively speaking, because we have proficiency on Constitution saving throw, at Wisdom saving throw, and we have advantage in our Dexterity saving throw, which are the 3 most important saving throws in the game. The second reason I'm taking this feat is because now we have a 13 Wisdom, and we can use that to do another multi-class, this time Ranger. Moving forward, we're gonna take 4 levels into Ranger. For our fighting style, we are picking up Druidic Warrior. Grab Guidance and whatever you like here. We are also getting some spells. Again, pick your favorites, just make sure to grab Hunter's Mark. At level 3, we are getting the Gloomstalker subclass. This subclass gives us 2 good features at level 3, but I'm only gonna cover one of them in a bit. At Ranger 4, we are getting our first ASI increase. We are gonna increase our strength. By the way, the feature that is important to us here is Dread Ambusher. It reads, at 3rd level, you master the art of ambush. You can give yourself a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your wisdom modifier. At the start of your first turn of each combat, your walking speed increases by 10 feet, which lasts until the end of that turn. If you take the attack action on your turn, you can make 1 additional weapon attack as a part of that action. If that attack hits, the target takes extra 1d8 of damage of the weapon damage type. So let's recap here for a bit. As a fighter, we can have 2 attacks for each attack action that we take. Because of an Echo Knight, we can add 1 extra attack for an attack action if we want to. With this feature, we add another attack to each attack action that we take, which means in 1 round we can do up to 8 attacks. If we do this on the first turn of a combat, we can add 2d6 of damage for each of those 8 attacks. So let's finish up this build, and then we will move back to tactics and final thoughts. We are going back to Fighter now for the last time here. We are picking up Fighter 12. With this, we can max out our strength, pick up extra attack, and then we're gonna pick up the feat Great Weapon Master. Among other things, the Great Weapon Master feat allows us to take a -5 penalty to the attack roll in exchange for +10 to our damage. I know much of you guys want to pick this feat up way sooner in the build, but believe me, it's better to have a higher strength modifier than the Great Weapon Master feat. For the last 2 levels, we're gonna go back to the Barbarian. At level 3, we're gonna pick up the coolest Barbarian subclass of all, the Ancestral Guardian. At level 4, we're gonna bump our Constitution modifier, and this is our 20 levels. Okay guys, so what I wanna do now is show you guys a little bit of why this character is so powerful. We are looking at a Roll20 screenshot that I took. On the right, you can see our character with our party members. The red square is our reach. This is assuming that we are using a halberd. That means we have a 15 feet of range. If you look a little bit to the left, you can see our echo, which is 30 feet away from us. Also, it has the same range as us, so I put a blue square for its range. If we take a look at this encounter, you will notice that our echo is able to attack most of the enemies we are facing. Pair this with the sentinel feat and the echo ability to provoke opportunity attacks. We are in a very strong position here. If our enemies wanna attack our echo, that's fine by us, because each attack that is directed at the echo is an attack that is not directed at us, and this is a win. Plus, if they destroy our echo, we can create another one every single turn with a bonus action. And we don't have a bonus action attack here, apart from the one that we get from Great Weapon Master, so I'm okay with this. If our enemies do not want to fight our echo and wanna fight us instead, we can use a reaction to deliver an opportunity attack at them, possibly reducing their speed to 0. Also, if one of the enemies manage to get up close to us and attack our allies, we also can use a reaction to attack them. Furthermore, thanks to our Ancestral Guardian subclass, if we attack an enemy and that enemy decides to attack anything but ourselves, they do so with disadvantage. So most of the enemies won't be able to get close to us and will be forced to fight our echo with disadvantage. If a creature manages to breach all of our defenses, we're still raging at least twice a day, which means that we are gonna take possibly half of the damage. And with Reckless Attack, all of our attacks are made with advantage. So I've showed you why this character is strong, but now I'm gonna show you how strong the character is. If you look at the graph here, I've drawn 3 lines. This graph represents the DPR for our character build, as well as 2 damage baselines to help us compare the damage with. The first baseline is a well-known Warlock baseline, which basically means a 60% hit chance with the Warlock that takes Charisma increase every single opportunity they get, and it's using Eldritch Blast with Hex as well. That baseline is the blue baseline. Personally, I do not like that baseline because a high level Warlock should not be casting Hex. Warlocks have very powerful spells, for example, Sickening Radiance, but the community seems to like that baseline, so I'm putting it here. The other baseline that I've drawn is the red one, which I'm calling the Fighter Elite baseline. This baseline is basically the DPR of a fighter that is taking the Champion subclass as a human, taking the Sharpshooter feat at level 1, taking the Crossbow Expert at level 4, and it's using a hand crossbow. Also, it's using the Archery fighting style, which is the strongest fighting style of them all for damage. This is a way better baseline for me, because it's a more real character and it's using exactly the things that a fighter is supposed to, doing 3, 4 and even 5 attacks each round at level 20. So basically what I've done here is that I've calculated the damage for an adventure day of 4 encounters. I'm considering each encounter having 4 rounds. I am also considering a short rest between the first 2 encounters and the last 2. So for my calculations here, this is my assumptions. We have 2 raids per day that we're gonna use with action search that we can also use twice a day. This would be on combats 1 and 3. For the other 2, we're gonna use Hunter's Mark. The Unleash Incarnation attacks will be placed on the ones with Rage and not Hunter's Mark, because if you're doing that many attacks, probably something will die and we won't have the opportunity to put Hunter's Mark on a following target. That's why I'm gonna use everything with Action Search, Unleash Incarnation, the Gloomstalker extra attacks, preferably with the Rage. So looking at this graph, you can see that takes a little bit of time for us to beat the Elite baseline, and we can beat the Warlock baseline from level 1. As soon as we hit level 7 and take that Reckless attack from the Barbarian, our damage spikes and we are from that point able to beat the Elite baseline. Also, I'm considering 2 opportunity attacks for every combat. This is because I'm attributing 1 opportunity attack for each of the 4 combats because of Sentinel and another one because of Manifest Echo. If we use the Polar Master feat here, which I think it's a poor choice, I would then give another opportunity attack. Basically, I'm gonna give an opportunity attack for every feature that makes it easier for the character to do an opportunity attack. So with those assumptions, this is the damage baseline. As you can see, we are way above the Elite baseline at higher levels, and this is because we are able to do up to 10 attacks in 1 round. It's also important to point out that our damage really increases once we get the Great Weapon Master feat. And again, you should not get that feat before you max out your strength modifier. Okay guys, this concludes the build for today. Thank you very much.
Please click the like button, subscribe and activate the notification bell for some awesome videos. Bye!